day. Ah, Bill Gates, a Rockefeller family gopher. And all this is a coincidence. Just happened by chance. So what about this then, monkeypox then, they're talking about? Well, apparently it was discovered in 1958. Not actually sourced to monkeys. They found it in monkeys, but they say it comes from other animals like rodents, so they claim. And from what I read, reports that I read, these were lab monkeys that was originally, who began with smallpox vaccine. And it's said to be a disease that can go from animals to humans and humans to animals. Something called zoonotic. Now, I've been writing about zoonotic disease in the period since the COVID card was played, pointing out that the time was coming when they were going to play that card. That this pandemic or this whatever disease, that can go from animals to humans and humans to animals. Because what they want to do is not just separate people from people, as they did in the COVID era, and this monkeypox has at least the potential to do so again. They want to separate people from their animals. And this is a report I saw today in the media, mainstream media. Monkeypox patients must limit contact with pets amid fears virus could spread to animals. Monkeypox patients must limit contact with pets over fears that the virus could spread to them with terrible consequences for wildlife, a news report claimed. According to the report, pet owners with monkeypox will reportedly be advised to avoid close contact with their animals over fears that the virus could spread throughout the animal kingdom. The advice will be issued by the Department of the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs later this week, with the warning of a potential risk of human-to-animal transmission laid out. It follows the European Centre for Disease Control, ECDC, having stated that the virus has the potential to spread to pets and then to nature. So, like I say, these people are nothing if not desperately predictable. And monkeypox is apparently prevalent in Central and West Africa, but there's not an obvious African connection to these alleged cases all over the world, which, as with COVID, are just popping up everywhere. Oh, monkeypox in Australia. Oh, monkeypox in America. And then you look at the ways they say this thing can be transmitted. Broken skin, respiratory tract, eyes, nose, mouth, contact, contaminated clothing. So think of the potential from that little lot alone of measures to protect people from the killers. Belgium has already instituted compulsory isolation for 21 days, which is a step on, of course, from COVID. So where this goes, we will have to see. It may just die a death like Omicron, or it may be played out as a repeat of COVID. We just have to see. One other thing to mention is that they're claiming that monkeypox remains infectious long after the scabs have healed. So what is that? A symptomatic transmission, just like COVID. So monkeypox is a close relative we are told, of smallpox. And have a look at the Rockefeller Gotha, speaking only on May the 3rd of this month. Bill Gates, he was on a television interview selling his fascist pandemic response system connected to this World Health Organization treaty. And he just by coincidence, nothing to worry about, dropped in the fact that smallpox has a 30% death rate.
In some ways, we were lucky with this pandemic. It certainly could have been a more contagious virus, and it could have been more lethal.
Yeah, the lethality, ends up being about 0.3%. Smallpox is 30%. So this is not the worst case. All the more reason to make these investments in preparedness.
I swear it's Revenge of the Nerds. Does anybody have a pie I can borrow? Okay, I'll be right back. So I don't get how people don't see through Bill Gates, and how people don't see how creepy this son of a bitch is and how obvious he is. This guy is over here trying to sell his COVID hit squads and his epidemic hit squads to us by telling us, oh, don't worry, after all of the tragedy and the mental cases, the depression, the death, and just all of the hiccups we had, there was only a 0.3% death rate that COVID had. Don't worry, smallpox, which has been eradicated, that has a 30% death rate. I'm just going to throw that out there.
And just like COVID, and certainly, of course, as always with Gates, the vaccine response is already being played out. Governments already smallpox, monkeypox vaccine. And this is the simple, desperately predictable sequence. You say there's a virus. Can you just prove that? Well, don't prove it. Everyone knows it. There's a virus. So, what does that mean? You're all gonna die. So what do we do? And this virus, vaccine sequence is being repeated again. And of course, this is happening at a time when immune systems are being devastated by the COVID vaccines. So, like I say, we'll see where this goes from here. May fizzle out, maybe the next plane. But it's another example of where we are as a human race. We're facing what is ultimately a non-human force that is systematically destroying human society to take it over in its entirety, not least via artificial intelligence. And this is being done systematically, step by step. This monkeypox is just another step, just like COVID was another step. It's being done by dismantling the human psyche, human health, and human society, and the human ability to survive financially. Plus, it's being underpinned by fascist levels of censorship, so what is happening cannot be exposed for what it truly is. And the technique that's being used is called the Fabian technique, and it's after a Roman general who had the approach that he would not fight decisive wars that would win or they would lose, but he would bear down the opposition step by step by step until they were so worn down that they couldn't just do it. So the Fabian strategy, this is worth remembering, because this is what's going on around us. and the fact that Fabian Society, this communism disguised left of centre intellectual organisation, was named after this general because the Fabian Society uses the same technique. So Fabian's strategy draws its name from the Roman general Quintus Fabius Maximus, a Roman dictator in the 3rd century BC. Fabian's strategy is an approach, this explanation says, to military operations where one side avoids large pitched battles in favor of smaller harassing actions in order to break the enemy's will to keep fighting and wear them down through attrition. Generally, this type of strategy is adopted by a smaller, weaker power when combating a larger foe. And that's where this global cult, as I call it, stands. It's trying to take over 8 billion people when it is a relative handful, very much a handful by comparison to the 8 billion. And so it's wearing the 8 billion down, step by step by step. Whether it's inflation, whether it's fuel prices going through the roof, monkeypox, whatever, they're trying to break our spirit. And when you wear down the opposition, as you do so, the more power you have as they get weaker for bigger and bigger attacks until you take over completely. So, like I say, the Fabian Society was named after this Fabius to symbolize its technique, just like the cult in general, of changing society in steps by wearing down resistance to the changes you want. And the Fabian Society's logo was the wolf in sheep's clothing, and that says it all. And then they dropped that because as people become more and more streetwise, it was so obvious that that's what they actually were, that they dropped it. And people like Gates, Schwab, and all these people, they are the wolves in sheep's clothing, because they're saying we're doing this to help you when they're actually doing it to destroy you and transform society in their image. And monkeypox is just another stage. There are plenty of others to come, because the idea is to break our spirit and wear down our resistance. Now, we mustn't fall for this, of course, because the consequences will be so horrific, not just for people alive today, but future generations. And there's something else I suggest, mustn't do. And that's to give these people a sense of power and omnipotence that they do not deserve. We shouldn't fall for the fact that these people are A, highly, highly intelligent, and that they are incapable of being overcome. I was watching what you would call it a bloody speech by George Soros this morning at the World Economic Forum in Davos going on. And I looked at this guy, he's 90. He's a multi-billionaire because he serves the gold. And he's spending staggering amounts of money to transform human society in the image the Pope is. And I looked at him and I thought, you are dictating the lives of billions. I mean, look at the Pope.
The invasion of Ukraine I'm out of time.